Hello, everybody, and welcome into this week's 30 Minutes program. This is Paul Tinkle. My guest today is the oldest guest I have ever had in this studio, and this is Miss Mary Vowell. She's 98 years old, and she is the oldest inductee, and probably will be the oldest inductee from the Weakley County Sports Hall of Fame, which took place here not long ago. And I am thrilled to hear her story, not once, not twice, but as many times as she'll tell it. And she is here to share with many of you her love for swimming and also for history. Miss Mary, thank you for joining me today. This is just a real treat for me, and I'm just so happy that I got to know a little bit more about you than you got to know about me, because it's my understanding you knew who I was when I was much younger.
I did.
Let's talk about this. So,
all right. Well, I just remember that you all were living in the big greenhouse on 5th Street in Union City.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where we played a lot. We had Phyllis Wheeler lived across the way, and we were good friends with her, and we played in the big house and played down in the basement, sort of, and we talked about all the things that happened in that house, and that was a fun thing for us.
You know, when we talk about where we live today, we moved to Martin in 1968, I think. When did you move over to Martin from Union City?
I came over here to junior college in the fall of 45, and stayed then. I never left, really. I went to California and lived a year and a half or so. But when I came back, I had a job at the university working for Mr. McMahon. He's the head of the ag department. And I stayed there for 5 or 6 years working for him. Mm-hmm. After we married. Marcy and I married in 47. Mm-hmm. Maybe not right, but whatever it was.
It's okay. We're not going to hold you to an exact date. So you know, you got inducted here just a couple of weeks ago into the Weakley County Sports Hall of Fame. Were you shocked? Were you surprised, or would you say, "Well, just thank you"? What?
I was not. I was surprised. And I thought it was real nice of them to do that, but it didn't occur to me that that would happen.
Well, that obviously was a big evening for you, perhaps the biggest in your life.
Of course. It was nice. Yeah. It was very thoughtful, and I appreciated that people realized what I had done, I suppose. I just did it because it was something I enjoyed doing, and it didn't matter to me whether I got any awards or anything like that. That wasn't what I did it for.
Well, why did you swim? Why did you get started swimming?
Well, my daddy was the project manager when they built Natchez Trace State Park. Mm-hmm. And so we had reason to live on the property out there. There was a guest house. And that summer, when Mother taught school, but when summer came, we went to Lexington to live. And my father was busy working on the lake, and we could go swim way before it was the waterway was Cove Creek Lake was open to the public. And so that's what we did. We could go swimming any time of day or night.
And that's where it began?
And that's where it began.
Now
we pushed off from the metal posts that were in the water. We pushed off from there to the next post and dog paddled that way. And that's where I learned to dog paddle, and that's swim. And my brother was with me, and of course he egged me on. We had a good time.
Let me ask you, what was your maiden name?
Kelly.
So how are you connected to the Kellys around here, or are you not a one?
No.
Okay.
No. My daddy grew up in Fulton, mm-hmm. and he went to University of Kentucky, mm-hmm. not to University of Tennessee, because he was from Kentucky. But he first went to West Point, and he flunked out of West Point intentionally, according to my family, because he was homesick.
Oh, wow.
And so he came back to Martin, and he was a civil engineer, and so he had different engineering jobs around building houses and whatever.
So what year, now you have how many children? You had 4 children?
I have 4.
4 children. And in that lifespan, when did you realize that you were at home by yourself, and when you realized that you wanted to start doing something again that you began many years ago?
Well,
swimming?
The university pool was open to us if we wanted to go, and so I, for some reason, started to swim in the early mornings, and I would. There was a crowd of us, and at the time,
a lot of your friends.
Yes, and there was a group that walked in the water, and I was swimming across the pool. And at the time, Frank Leach started helping me swim better and all that. And they would say, "He's killing you, he's killing you." And I thought, yeah, you're walking in that water and I'm swimming. Yeah. And that's the difference in what we were doing.
So what year about was that?
Oh, it was probably...
middle 80s?
Probably 89.
1989?
Probably.
Okay, well, you got a bunch of awards here through the years, and I want to get into that here in a second. But you had your girlfriends, let's say, and you were going over to the pool. They don't have that pool there anymore.
No, they don't.
That kind of hurts, doesn't it?
It does. I don't have anywhere to swim now, so I don't swim. It's been a year. It's been a year since I've been in the pool, actually.
I've got a pool in my backyard. You're welcome to come use it now if you think you really want to do one more lap.
Well, that was fun.
How many? Wait a minute.
I don't know.
No. Let me go back to this one question. When I said how many. How many meets, how many times did you go out and swim for senior citizens competition or senior Olympics, as they call it?
From 89, I always went whenever they had it, and I can't remember exactly how that was, what time of year and everything, but I never missed one. So whenever it was, I always participated.
Now, I don't know what you've done with all of your medals, but I would be curious to know, first off, how many do you think you have?
I have no idea.
30,
no.
40, 50? Stop me when you think I'm close.
That's maybe
100?
Enough. I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. Is there one that's really, really the one you just, if I'm going to go to take this and in my casket, which one, what was it for?
Well, I don't remember any specific, but they were about, the bigger medals were about 6 inches across. And so they were sort of round and pretty neat. So I've got those hanging up on a little board in my dining room. And that's the most I've done. I haven't, I don't dwell on that. It's not that important to me, really, but it was fun when I was doing it.
How'd you meet your husband?
I was working as a secretary to Mr. McMahon, who was the head of the ag department at junior college.
Is that UTM?
At UTM.
UTM.
Well,
junior college?
Junior college, yes. And he came out to the office one morning.
Who's that now? Who came out?
Morris, my husband.
Okay.
My friend I married. He came out there, and Mr. Mack was gone off on the farm, and there's nothing going on. I didn't have any work I had to do. So we sat and talked all morning that day, and he went home, and I asked his sister, who is that that's working for Mr. Mack? And she said, oh, that's just Mary Kelly. So he called me that weekend, and before I went back to Union City, I said, well, I've got to go home to Mama over the weekend. And he said, if you want to come Sunday night and take me back to Martin, that'd be good. So he came pick me up at my house in Union City, where my mother lived, and took me back to Fulton to the movie, and then we went back to Martin. And
you were in the car quite a bit during that weekend. Yeah.
Yeah, we had to be busy.
Now I got to be asking now. I mean,
That's all right.
I got to ask you the question. Did he kiss you the first date?
Oh no, of course not. It's very old fashioned.
You're not going to tell me a story on the air, are you?
I don't think so.
So, and to be clear, Morris was a part of the Vowell and Sons Lumber Company of these years, correct?
Well, yes, so. He was. They had just a little hole in the wall office, sort of. It wasn't anything much down there except the lumber barns were all sort of unusual. But anyway, that's about it.
Well, I want to back up for just a second because I don't know for sure, but you did play basketball 3-on-3, right?
I don't know what 3-on-3.
Three girls in the back and three in the where you had to split court.
We played that, but we also played full court.
Oh yeah. So
I think.
What years were you playing basketball?
Well, I finished high school in 43, so 45 I finished junior college, and that's
somewhere in there, yeah. So,
in there.
Did you have any desire to play basketball at UT Martin, or no? They didn't have women's basketball back then.
We didn't have any sports to speak of, except I mean, there was no competition, and we played among ourselves. But we didn't have teams that came in and we played other teams from somewhere. We didn't have that.
So I'll fast forward it a little bit. Okay. So you got married and you made your home here.
Yes.
And what did you do all of those years working at the university?
I worked for Mr. McMahon, who was the head of the ag department. And I worked for him, I can't remember how long that was, 5 or 6 years. And after we married, then I decided that I was ready to have a family, so we took care of that. And
4 children.
4 children. We had 2, and then we skipped 3 or 4 years, and then we had the 2 other ones. So we had 3 boys and 1 girl. And
today, and most recently, you had your family all together.
Yes.
And it not been for the Weakley County Sports Hall of Fame. Sometimes it's hard to get family together.
That's correct. Yeah.
So,
we do pretty good about getting together.
I'm going to jump in here for something. You've just talked to us, ladies and gentlemen. If you've just tuned in, I wanted to tell you that you are listening to Mary Vowell. She was Mary Kelly many years ago. She has been inducted into the Weakley County Sports Hall of Fame. But I honestly think that if people knew just how many medals you have had, how many Olympics do you have placed in or won, I think you would be on CBS News or NBC or ABC or Fox or somebody out there if they just knew about you.
Well, it's not something that I have ever counted up. I've got a lot of them. That's all I know. When you go in there and they're hanging up in the dining room and they're hanging on the little pedals. We've got a little bookshelf.
They're reminding you of each day.
And so I'm, aware of this all the time, but it's not something that just is really forward in my mind. I'm not. I'm proud of it, I understand, but I'm not all that taken with it. It's just something I did.
Yeah.
And it was fun.
Yeah.
And my friends were there, and I know that when I first started swimming at the university, there were these girls that walked the water, and they would walk in the shallow end, but I would swim in the water. And they said, you're let me see, I can't remember what it was they would tell me. He said, you're wearing yourself out or something. And I said, nah, I'm swimming and y'all are walking.
If you were to get into the swimming pool today, could you do it again?
Yeah, I could. I can swim across the pool. I can swim back and forth across the pool between 10 and 20 times.
Now, at 98, when are you going to be 99?
March 13th.
Okay. I'll try to remember that. I have a little dementia, I'm sure, somewhere along the way. We all have a little of that. But
I have a lot of it.
Your mind is very clear. You are very clear.
I don't feel that I am losing anything that I miss, to say the least. I feel like I can carry on a regular conversation with people and not appear to not pay attention and all that stuff.
Do you watch television?
Not much.
What would have been your favorite show when TV came out?
Oh, we didn't have TV when it first came out. We were a long time before.
So y'all listened to radio to get all of your news?
Yeah, we listened to radio mostly.
Do you remember what radio station it might have been?
Well, we listened to WENK most of the time.
Because there wasn't a radio back then until 1957, until WCMT came on the air. And I'm going to tell you a little quick story. Your husband was on our radio station 1,000 times here at WCMT because he and Val and Sons always sponsored the Swap Shop.
That's right.
And he would come in and sit in here with Herb Cathy and would talk about various projects for building a home or remodeling.
How to do it.
Oh, yeah. Was he pretty smart?
I thought he was pretty smart.
Morris Vowell always went to the city board meetings.
Yes, he
did. He didn't miss a meeting. And I'm going to tell you, Morris Vowell, for many people that knew him, and I have great respect for your husband.
Okay.
But I got to tell you, if he was on the front row of the of those that came to watch what was going on at City Hall, he was a little intimidating. I mean,
I'm sure he was.
I mean, he was strong about his feelings, about saving money, about being able to go forward. I mean, he had a lot of great ideas, and I think he probably made sure that all the city board members knew exactly what he thought.
Oh, I'm sure he did.
Yeah. So move me a little bit further down the road for just a moment. Have you ever been to a baseball game?
Oh my goodness, I was raised up on Cardinals baseball, but the Greyhounds baseball team played at Union City, and we always went to the baseball games. All we had to do was go up the railroad track about 25 feet, cross over the Dietzel's yard, and go and crawl up in their barn, and we could watch the ball game that was going on, or else we could just go on and walk in. We had a puppy ticket, and we could go in for nothing almost all summer. And so we'd go and watch the Greyhounds play ball. Yeah.
What, do you remember any of the players?
Oh, there's Bobby Richards. And I can't remember offhand.
Red Shaindish?
Yeah, Red Shaindish was there.
I mean, that was a pretty big deal. Nobody, I mean, I think some people recognize it, but I don't think they really realized how cool that was.
Yes, it was. But there was a bunch of us that were, there's about 8 or 10 of us that would always gather in the bleachers at night to go to the ball game. And we never missed a game when they were in town. And we thoroughly enjoyed the Greyhounds playing ball.
Now, you were born in
1926.
Okay, I'm doing my math here since we're already there. 1926 to the times that you first started remembering things, probably when you were 8 years old, 10 years
probably.
old? Yeah. Did you have a bicycle, tricycle, any of those things?
We got our bicycles, my brother and I, I was in the 5th grade, and we got them bicycles for Christmas. And they were, Sears had a fancy bicycle, and they had a regular boy's bicycle.
Now, wait a minute. Was that out of the book, or was
well, that was
out
in
of the Sears
store.
catalog, or in the store?
It was in the catalog, but it was also in the store because we went down there to get us the bicycle. When I got there, they had only one of the fancy bicycles with the speedometers and stuff on it. So, of course, being the younger child and my brother, I would say, Bill, you can have the bicycle that has all the bells and whistles on it, and I'll take this little plain red bicycle. And it was a boy's bicycle, of course. And so as the time from Christmas to summer came, his bicycle had sort of fallen apart. So we were relegated to riding my bicycle, and so he would ride me on the handlebars, and we would go all over town to do our thing.
No helmets. No, we didn't have anything.
No, nothing. I just rode on the handlebars.
And probably didn't have a mirror on it either. So.
Oh, I probably not.
Yeah. Let me take a second dive here, if you will, on the subject of your relationship with the Lord. You grew up in a Methodist family?
And Methodist, yes. We went to the Methodist church.
That in Union City?
In Union City.
That church has been there for 100 years, you know.
Yes, it had.
What was it like going to church in your world?
Well, in our world, we had several, about 9 in our class, and we all, the same crowd that went to our church played on the ball team at high school, and college then later.
There's a close-knit family with your friends.
Yeah, we had, there were about 10 of us, and we sort of ran around together a lot.
Well, one of my dear friends who helped to raise me, Mott Harris.
Mott, yes, my dear friend also.
Yeah.
Yep, we were a close-knit bunch, and we did lots of things together. And we could sort of talk someone into getting their parents to take us to Fulton. We'd say, "Do you want to go swimming?" And they said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "Well, see if your mother will take us and we'll go." And so we got many a free trip to Fulton to the swimming pool.
Well, Union City had a pool many, many years ago.
Yeah,
Fulton had a pool. Martin had a pool. What's happened to all the swimming pools?
We never had one when I was growing up.
But right here in Martin, there is no. I mean, you got to go to Paris to go swim unless you've got a pool.
We went to Dyersburg to swim in that round pool, but that was really not much fun. The pool at Dyersburg was a nice pool, but it wasn't good for swimming.
I'm going to go back to church for a moment.
All right.
When you went to church with your mom and dad, were you dressed up?
Well, we had on the best. Yeah, we had a special dress we'd wear on Sunday mostly.
Everybody wanted to make sure that they were.
Yeah, we looked pretty good.
Yeah, and I guess going back to that brings me to some other question, and that is, on the campus of UT Martin.
Okay.
Did girls get a chance to wear shorts, or how about what did they have to?
Never shorts.
How about pants?
They frowned on you're wearing pants on the campus, and I can remember very well the day that my friends and I were taking flying lessons at the airport.
You took flying lessons at Everett Stewart Airport?
I did.
Did you pass?
I did.
Did they cut that? What is it? Cut that tail or something at the end?
No, they didn't do any of that. But we had our choice of taking a cross country or doing something else, and so we took the cross country, and so we flew with Bob. Who's the I can't remember. Well, I should remember his name, and I do.
You'll get to it.
Yeah. So we flew from Martin to Paducah or to Mayfield. And I don't remember exactly. We said there's 3 towns, and we went and did that.
Wow.
So that was pretty nice.
You flew a plane?
I did.
Did you have a passenger or an instructor with you?
The instructor was with us, and he never let loose of the controls. He said he did, but he didn't. You could tell he was holding on.
So you could have gone to the Army. They needed the wax and so forth. Yeah.
I wasn't old enough. You have to understand that when you start school at 5 and you get through school, you're still 16. You can't do things that other people can do. So that's the way it was with me.
By the way, was that the airport out here in Martin, Gill Dove?
Gill Dove.
Is that where it was?
That was it.
Not Everett Stewart Airport, but Gill Dove.
No, we went to Gill Dove. Yeah. It's where we went.
A lot of people have no idea where that is, but they pass it probably going to Sharon every single day, and it's just right off the right? Yeah. If you're going to Sharon.
It's not have a sign up that says former home of Gill Dove.
Before we leave our program today, I want to ask you about a couple of people. If you've just joined us, it's Mary Vowell. She's 98 years old, going to be 99 March the 13th.
Correct.
Next year. And we've talked about a lot of other things here. Not only has she been inducted into the Weakley County Sports Hall of Fame, but she also knows some of the things that maybe you folks have heard about. How about some names, for example? There are some people in your circle growing up. Paddlefoot. Who was that?
That was Robert Neal.
Robert Neal Glasgow.
Glasgow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, right.
And then there was.
See, he was from Martin. I was from Union City, so I don't know necessarily about Martin people as much as I do Union City people.
You have any old friends who had nicknames? Girls who had nicknames?
No, not really. Mott Harris is the only one I can remember, and she was my best buddy always. We played basketball together and did lots of stuff together.
Did you ever hear the name Cactus Vincent?
Cactus Vincent,
yeah,
yes.
You know,
after I married and moved to Martin,
you learned a lot of people who
I knew the nicknames of these people later.
If you're going to tell somebody about either your life or Martin, do you have a message for anybody, or maybe just something you want to say to them? I mean,
Well, I'll tell you that if they missed out on being raised in Union City or Martin, they really missed it all. We had such good friends, and we did so many different things, and we could always get a game up together to play ball or something like that.
Yeah, that went with Mott Harris for us
did.
Because we lived next door, and we had the big old big fat plastic bat and ball, and she was really good. You know, she taught up in Illinois.
Oh yeah,
when she was, but always came home on Friday night.
But we were best friends, and there were several of us that were best friends with each other. That you wouldn't think that we would be, but that close, but we were.
Are you still driving?
Oh, yes.
You are.
I am.
You're driving at 98?
I am.
Are you telling me a story right now?
No, I am not.
You still have, what kind of car do you drive?
Oh, I don't even know.
Red one, blue, green, what's your color?
Oh, it's probably blue, but I don't know what color.
You know,
it is.
you've earned enough accolades and probably got a few extra dollars that you ought to pick up the phone and just say, I think I want to take a ride around someplace. You know, Northwest will do that for a couple of dollars, so you might take advantage of all of those senior discounts and so forth.
We were in high school, in college, junior college. Mm-hmm. They had a flight course that we could take, and so we did, and so we had we could take a 3-hour cross country, or we could do something else, and I can't remember what it was. And so we flew from Union City, probably Union City, to Murray, to Mayfield, and back to Union City. And we thought that was pretty neat. Mm-hmm. Most people didn't get to do that, but we did.
I want to, speaking of, I just looking at you here, you do not look your age. I'm honestly telling you, you have beautiful skin.
Oh,
your smile is infectious, and I'm noticing your nails. I mean,
my goodness,
they look so pretty.
Aren't they pretty? They've had that polish on there. If you don't wash dishes, you can have your nails done, and they look nice for 2 or 3 weeks.
You have them done at your.
Oh yes, I have it done. At the beauty shop.
Yeah, you've been doing the beauty shop thing for a long time.
Oh, I do the beauty shop for fingernails and my hair.
When did you last work? And I mean getting a paycheck.
It's been a long time. I can't remember.
Do you remember when minimum wage went to $1?
I don't really remember any of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah?
I really don't.
You remember when you got your first house?
We built that house.
Really?
Where we had built the first part of it. And it must have been, I can't remember what year.
Not the year so much, but you're still living in the same house?
We added on to the house 40 times at least.
Well, he was in the lumber business.
We had 4 children, and every time we had another child, we had to have another bedroom. So we sort of did that way, and we had a good time.
Clearly, God has blessed you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. This is great having you here on the radio.
Thank you so much.
I hope you will continue to do what you're doing, because whatever it is you've been doing has kept you at 98. And
I think so.
Are you thinking about maybe a 100th birthday celebration? Have you thought that yet?
We've thought about that. My brother's already 99.
You've got a brother?
No. My brother Bill. Mm-hmm. Yes, he's so precious to me. Well, and he was always good to me when we were growing up, and he still would be if he was around.
We understand. Well, let me just simply say thank you for sharing some memories and telling us your story about swimming, and knowing today that you could still get in the pool if there was a pool for you to go swim around in.
Absolutely.
You might have to. You may have to go out to one of these hotels and spend the night and get in the pool, getting up the next morning. So it's been great talking to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. I've enjoyed it.
Mary Vowell, everybody. Hope you've enjoyed our visit with her today on 30 Minutes. This is Paul Tinkle, pre-recorded on 30 Minutes from Thunderbolt Radio.
You've been listening to 30 Minutes, a community affairs program on Thunderbolt Radio. You can listen to this broadcast and others anytime by visiting thunderboltradio.com and following the Thunderbolt Radio and Digital YouTube page. Thanks for listening.